Today I'm going to be covering the advantages of premium tokens and hopefully help you decide whether or not you need a premium token in play for your playstyle. So to start off with, premium tokens can be purchased for crowns through the game interface. Now, simply clicking on the premium tokens after opening the cards screen right here, click the premium tokens on the right side, and it will display a list of all the premium tokens you currently have in your inventory. Now there are three different types of premium tokens. The cheapest of the premium tokens is the 2-day premium token. This is a premium token that cannot be bought, but the game will give it to you for free for completing certain quests, and also there have been certain events that Firefly has run that will also give you a 2-day premium token. To put a premium token in play, simply click on it. In my case, I already have a 2-day premium token in place, so I cannot play another one. But if you click on it, the game will ask you if you wish to confirm the playing of that premium token, and then if you click yes, it will be put into play. Now, before we get into some of the benefits of premium tokens, I would like to cover some of the limitations. Some people are under the misconception that a premium token is account-wide. This is simply not the case. The premium token only applies to the world you put it in play on. If you put it into play in a world in which you didn't wish to put it in play, you're basically out of luck. Firefly is not going to refund you your mistakes, so make sure you're in the right world before playing your premium token. Another common misconception that I hear perpetuated by players is that by having a premium token in play, you are allowed to break the rules. The specific rule that is cited to me all the time on this one is for the Stronghold Kingdoms game rules under number 5, players sharing an internet connection. They read, players with a premium token in play are not subject to this restriction, and this restriction refers to the limited actions that you are basically excluded from if you are playing from the same IP address as another player. Now, I will agree the terminology here is a bit dubious, but what this sentence refers to is the fact that the game itself will allow you to trade and stuff if you have a premium token in play. It doesn't mean that Firefly will overlook you breaking the rules, because the premium token exists in addition to a whole bunch of other benefits. It also allows you to trade, vote for, reinforce, use monks, basically interact with other players in the world. And if you don't have that premium token in play, it is going to be the game itself actually limits what you can do with other players. If it detects the same IP address as another player that you are attempting to interact with, it will prohibit most interactions with that player. Okay, with all of the boring stuff out of the way, returning to the premium tokens. Now there are 3, like I said before, a 2-day, a 7-day, and a 30-day. Now the benefits that these premium tokens confer on the player are rather multifaceted, and I'm going to start from what they list here with the building queue. Now this allows you to place 5 buildings to be built in your village at one time. This is great if you are like either building a new village or right in a new world where a lot of building times are low. In other words, you're not going to have to wait hours for a building to finish. So I can just place a whole bunch of buildings right now and then wait for them to complete, and I really don't have to interact with the game. So this is a real time saver. Otherwise you have to sit here and babysit all of these buildings. As the game wears on, however, and your villages are more developed, this is not all that useful, because if a next building is going to take 6, 12, 18, 24 hours, queuing up 5 of them really isn't going to help you a whole lot. Okay, next up we have the research queue. This allows up to 5 researches to be queued in the research screen. This is very similar to the way the building queue works. Basically, it allows you to add more than just 1 research at a time. So if I wanted to do some farming research and I was going to log off, I just load this up. As you can see, it's adding to the queue right there. Now I have all those researches queued up, and when this one completes, I will just move on to the next, and the next, and the next. Again, this is a feature that is very useful in the early game, but as research times get longer, it becomes less and less so. So if you have been playing the game for 2 months already, the actual usefulness of a premium token for a research queue is probably not enough to justify the purchase of a premium token. Now we're getting on to some of the bit more mundane things. Auto trading. This one is debatable as to whether or not it is even a useful feature. It allows you, when logged out for 2 to 4 hours, or should I say, it allows your village to trade with your local parish once you have been logged out for 2 to 4 hours. Now, it is not set in stone, and if the market price in that parish is terrible, you're just going to be losing out. But you set it up by going into the, just clicking log out, and then you'll be presented with this logout screen. Select auto trading, select your good type, and then move the slider to determine how much you want to keep in your village. So if I wanted to sell 25% of my goods, I would set the slider to 75% and leave it at that. And every 2 to 4 hours when I'm offline, the game will automatically send my merchants out to my local parish to trade wood with it. The disadvantage to this is, like I said, once the price for wood crashes, the game is not going to do anything about it. So if you don't move, alternate your resources you want traded a bit, you're going to end up selling a whole bunch of wood for 1 gold a piece, which is really not that efficient at all. The other downside to using auto trading is the fact that it sends all of your merchants at the same time. So anybody who is basically looking at the map can look at all your villages. They'll see a whole bunch of merchants all converging onto that parish from your local villages there, and they will know that you're offline and have been offline for a few hours now, and during times of war it signals that you are not online, so you won't be able to defend yourself too well. So for warriors, this is definitely not a feature. If you're a farmer, I suppose maybe. Even then, it is very limited. As you can see, you can only auto trade 1 resource at a time, and you cannot even choose the parish it trades to. It just trades your local parish all the time. I consider it almost a non-feature, but there are some worse ones, so let's cover those. Auto scouting. This is very similar to auto trading. Every 2 to 4 hours that you are offline, the game will send out your scouts. Again, the real downside to auto scouting is the fact that players looking at the map can determine whether or not you're online simply because all of your scouts started out from your villages all at the exact same time, and they are all scouting within a parish. And that's an important thing to note. The auto scouting will only scout resource stashes that are within your local parish. So if you see a player with a whole bunch of scouts emerging, 1 from each village in that parish, all scouting resources in that parish, and that applies to pretty much the entire map that this player is on. If you look at all of his villages and that's the case, you pretty much know for a fact that they have been offline for the last 3 hours, and hey, go ahead and attack them. So it brings us on to auto attacking. This sends out attacks from your village to AI targets that you have chosen. To enable this, once again, you go to the logout screen and click auto attack. There are 3 different options. You can choose to attack bandit camps, wolf lairs, and AI castles. Attacking AI castles is a joke because most of them require more than 1 attack, especially with the way the game AI sets up the attack. So unless you're willing to burn through armies for pretty much no reason, definitely keep that off. Wolf lairs, especially in the later game, that is pretty much the same thing. If you have a wolf lair with like 300 wolves in it, and the game sounds like an auto attack, unless your village is set up with the right troop composition, most likely you're just wasting troops. Bandit camps, I could kind of see this because even in the late game, the hardest bandit camps aren't really that hard compared to wolf lairs and AI castles. So if you have the right troops available in your barracks, remember this auto attack will not take any troops off your walls. It will only use the troops that are just in the barracks, not in the castle garrison. So if you have the right troops set up in your barracks, I could see that. But then once again, you run into the problem of the game sending out these attacks once every 2 to 4 hours, and other players can see that you are auto attacking and they know that you're offline. So once again, if you're a fighter, that's definitely not something that's a feature for you. Then you have auto recruit. Now this is actually pretty useful for fighters. The idea behind it is when clicking log out, you click auto recruit, and then you click a unit type that you want it to recruit. You can set the slider to determine how full you want your barracks to be, and every 2 to 4 hours the game will automatically conscript idle peasants in your village as that unit type, providing there are suitable weapons and gold to do so. This is very useful for fighters because everybody has to be offline for some time, and it allows you to it allows you to continue to build up the army size in your in your village. However, do not recruit anything but peasants, because most of the time you're not sure exactly what troop composition you're going to need to attack various things. So peasants are the cheapest, and you're not wasting any weapons. At 3 gold apiece, the advantages far outweigh any disadvantages. So if you are a fighter and you have a premium token in play, clicking auto recruit and setting it to peasants with a maximum cap of 500 can come in quite helpful. Moving on to village overview. This allows players to keep track of essential information on all their villages, such as income from taxes, housing capacity, popularity, and more. This is accessed by clicking the little eye icon up at the top right of the screen, and it will display your current villages. Now, this is one of the features that gets more useful as you acquire more villages. When you first start out, this feature is just pretty much worthless, because that's your only village and you're going to be paying attention to it anyway, so there's really no reason you need to see an overview for it. However, it tells you useful things like how many troops you have, scouts, merchants, monks, their current popularity. If this goes negative, you can easily see it. There'll be an entire list here, and you can easily correct it. The number of buildings you have placed in that village, as well as whether or not the keep is enclosed. Again, this really comes in useful in later ages, really, when you can have up to 40 villages, and that takes a while to maintain otherwise. So being able to see it all here in an overview is pretty useful, although I would also like to see the ability to repair the castle right from here. In other words, if the keep is not enclosed, there should be a button that appears that allows you to just click it and repair it. It will restore. It'll first repair the castle, and then it'll restore the infrastructure and save it. So I think it could be improved, but it isn't that bad, especially for later ages. So that covers the village overview, and although I do not personally find it useful, you might, especially if you are in an older world and you have quite a few villages to keep an eye on. And finally, getting down to vacation mode, this allows players to protect their village from attack for up to 15 days. I've only seen it really be useful for cases where you're under invasion and you want to make sure your villages are protected. That's what most players use it for, and it is limited to premium tokens, or 7 and 30-day premium tokens. So if you want to go into vacation mode, you're going to have to put a 7 or 30-day premium token into play first. This sort of makes it a feature that only paying players can access, which is sort of regrettable. I wish there was an alternative that allowed players who are playing for free to access vacation mode without, because basically what vacation mode is like 14 days of free interdiction for all your villages. It is really quite powerful, and although it is limited to twice per year, that pretty much adds up to you can sit on your rear farming for an entire month, even if your country or your county is under invasion. And lastly, we have advanced trading. Now, this is actually quite a useful feature, and unfortunately I won't be able to display it in this world. But how it works is you select your village, select a parish, or just click trade, and once you have this window up, there will be a little up and down icons that you can click to find the best local prices nearby. And I've tried using this, and if you're a merchant sort of player and you're going to be selling a lot of goods, this can really come in useful, because it allows you to find the best prices for buying and selling without really much work at all. Because the range that it goes around the range around your village that it takes into account, you're probably not going to want to go outside that a whole lot, because the times to trade to and from those parishes get longer and longer as you go further away. So it really comes in handy, and it's probably one of my favorite features of the premium token, aside from being able to move buildings around your village and use or queue up research in your research tree. So that pretty much covers everything the premium token does. If you first start out in a new world, you will be given a free 2-day premium token, and it is rather regrettable that you really can't actually try out many of the features that it offers that early in the game. It would be nice if they'd save it for a little later, but I'm not sure how that would work, given the way it's integrated into the tutorial. If you don't have a premium token, you can simply buy one right from this screen here by clicking either the 7-day or the 30-day. If you have sufficient crowns in your treasury, they will be subtracted and you'll receive a premium token of that denomination right here. In my case, as you can see, I only have 90 crowns in my treasury, so even if I tried to buy this one, they'll say needed crowns are needed, and you can just click buy crowns, and it will direct you to a web page that allows you to put in your payment information and everything and buy crowns. So again, I hope you found this useful. This has been sort of an overview of the features of the premium token, and it gives you a realistic perspective on what it's useful for and what it isn't from a player who has been playing this game for around 3.5 years now. So I hope you found this insight valuable. If you stuck it all the way out to the end, I know this is a bit long. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you next time.